Okay, before we talk about how weebill-s image transmission module is a game changer, this happened. What is going on, guys? Hope you're having another fantastic day. If not, we'll make one, because I was able to test out this image transmission module with Zhiyun weebill-s during a video shoot with 2 modified Nissan GTRs and a corporate interview. You're like, what? Interview? Why do you need a gimbal image transmission for an interview? We'll get to that later, but this is the unit that Zhiyun sent me to test, and I asked them to send me this with image transmission module because when I found out about this add-on, I immediately thought of building a car rig because of 2 distinct functions. 1, you can see what you're filming on your phone, which isn't new, but 2, you could control the gimbal movement real time while looking at a live image away from your gimbal. If you want to see a little behind the scene of how I built that car rig, check out my Instagram story highlights, but to me, this function stood out as what makes this gimbal very different. So let's first talk about 3 functions that allow me to get these really cool car shots that was not possible for me before. First is object tracking on a large scale. Instead of circling the car with my feet, I use my truck to circle around car with much larger radius. I sat in the passenger seat while my buddy Vu drove the truck. I just simply drew a square around the car and the gimbal did the rest. Second is the joystick control. While looking at the live image of what you're recording, you can actually turn the gimbal 1 axis at a time. One scene I liked a lot was when I tilted the camera down towards the pavement, but did a tilt up move while one of the GTR just sped up towards the truck. And I did all this inside the truck with the warm heated seat. It was pretty cold that day. I mean, game changer if you don't like the cold and don't want to stick a gimbal out in an open car window. The third function that really helped me with this car shoot was the sync motion control. That's when you are able to actually turn the gimbal with your phone movement. During the actual car shoot, I needed to quickly frame my shot and centering the car. You could use the joystick mode for this framing shot, but I found the sync motion control to be much faster. As soon as I found the correct framing, I just turned off the sync motion control so the gimbal locked into that position and just hit record and done. It did take some time to get used to the actual movement, but being able to see where you're actually turning helped a lot. Many gimbal these days come with this sync motion control feature, but you can't exactly see what you're pointing at unless you stand right by the camera, right? In which case, why do you need to hold another thing to move the gimbal that's right next to you? With this, you could control a gimbal attached to a truck going 100 miles per hour, or yeah, we weren't going that fast. Or I can totally see someone placing this gimbal right next to a drummer during a concert, controlling the movement while sitting somewhere else maybe, looking at the very image that it's actually recording or streaming. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah, let me know in the comments below what else you can think of, but I think you can get really creative in the possibility of using this transmission module. Or better yet, you don't even have to use this with the gimbal. I mean, here's the part you're waiting for. I know corporate interviews are really exciting, but since this is a standalone detachable unit that can still function without the gimbal, I actually use this during a corporate interview shoot. A lot of times I'm one-man band and I couldn't see the B camera since it was really far away from where I was sitting with the A camera. So I just attached the image transmission module right on top of my B cam and just monitor the image right from my phone, and that is a game changer. Now there are some things to keep in mind when using this image transmission module. In my experience, this module signal works really well going through woods and drywall in a building, but not through multiple layers of metal. I did have some trouble with the signal when I was actually controlling the gimbal inside the truck. You see, I did have to go through many layers of aluminum and steel to reach the transmitter. On top of that, we have a bunch of other Wi-Fi devices like GoPros and other phones running within very close proximity to my phone. What I should have done is actually sit in the following GTR controlling the gimbal from the passenger seat of that car, so the signal would have just gone straight through the windshield. By the time of the shoot, this unit was considered a pre-release version, but something to keep in mind if you plan on using this through metals and like feels the Wi-Fi devices. So it got me thinking, okay, the range is 100 meter on this module, which is 328 feet. If there are no metal obstructions, is it really that powerful? So where can I go where there's no obstruction for like 328 feet? Okay, soccer field. So I found the biggest soccer field in the area and I placed the gimbal with the image transmission module in one end and I just start jogging towards the other end of the field while actually monitoring the image and controlling the gimbal with my phone. And I could not believe it. I was like little beyond 350 feet and I had responsive image transmission and control over the gimbal. This image transmission really takes the motion time-lapse feature to like next level. On my way back from the soccer field, I saw this beautiful sunset. I'm like a sucker for sunset, so I drove my truck right up to the nearest parking garage and set the gimbal up to do a quick motion time-lapse. Thing was, it was freezing cold, like you're seeing a theme here, right? So I set up my gimbal outside and came into my nicely heated car seat and set up my A point and B point to get this time-lapse. If you live in Canada or Alaska, this is again a game changer. You can set up as many motion time-lapse as your warm heart desires from the comfort of a nicely heated car or room. All of these possibilities combined with a small gimbal that can handle heavy mirrorless setups, I mean, this is a playground for creatives, and this game just changed. Okay, that sounded a lot better in my head, but I'm just excited to make my car rig version 2 because truck frame is just too rigid for like gimbal to soak up all the bounces. I need some sort of like spring mechanism to like reduce the up and down movements. So that's coming. Huge thanks to Envu Films and Purphuhl Media for making this car shoot possible. And by the way, if you're into cars, like check out Purphuhl Media's YouTube channel. I mean, his car videos are just clean. I'll link their channel information at the end of this video and in the description below along with the gears I use for these shoots. Hopefully I do more collab video with these guys in the future. Meanwhile, I'm gonna just keep finding creative ways to use this gimbal. Until next time, make it a good one, guys. Later.